what's the question that you have?
Okay, Leonora, I have an installment sale agreement that's currently in the pipeline. The purchaser at the beginning of the agreement, when we were drafting it, agreed to pay the installments from signature of the installment sale agreement. They paid over one installment, but they're not paying anymore, and they want the seller to pay. So the seller is paying, but he's very upset about the fact that he has to pay. What is the actual background to this, the legal, the commercial? Who is supposed to pay until registration?
So if the contract stipulates that the purchaser is liable for the installments as from the date of the signature, then they should keep paying the installments. If the contract has not yet been registered, then the payment must be received by the conveyancing attorney and held in trust until the contract registers. Then you can take the bulk payment. Let's say it took 3 or 4 months to register, and then that can be paid into the bond account, because the purchaser is liable to make payments in terms of the agreement. Now, the seller remains liable for the bond installments in terms of his agreement with the bank. He cannot stop paying the bond installment.
You can't change that.
You cannot change that.
Yeah.
But the fact is, the agreement between the purchaser and the seller is a separate agreement to the bond installment. So the act says, and usually our contracts also say that the purchaser's money cannot be paid to the seller, which would be into the bond account, until the contract has been registered.
Sure. Yeah. And there's case law supporting this. So there was a situation at a stage where people had entered into installment sale agreements, and I think the seller attempted to cancel based on breach. And when it did go before the judge said that, strictly speaking, the purchaser is not in breach at all until the contract is registered, so there was no obligation on them to pay. So it is actually interesting. So even though holding the money in the trust account, it's an interesting question as to whether if they paid into the trust account, whether it's even necessary that they paid into the trust account. I would say that yes, it is, because when the contract does register, then there's an argument to say, well, now it's back pay. You need to go back in time because you did agree it's registered, and contractually, fine, you weren't in breach then, but you're going to be in breach now because you owe us a bulk amount of money.
Yes. And then you are in breach, and then it's going to backfire. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Thanks for that.
Pleasure.
Cool. Bye.
Bye.